And greetings, friends around the world, throughout the universe, whenever and wherever you may be. This is Bobby D. Moore. We seem to spend a lot of time talking and writing about the most dreadful of human endeavors, war. If you want to be entertained by drug-addicted, anorexic glamour queens, then may I suggest that you go somewhere else. You won't find very many of them on this show. Neither will you find spectator sports heroes whose intended purpose is to divert your attention from the multitude of local, national, and international problems of which you should be aware. You won't find Dancing on the Stars, or In the Bars, or any of the countless hypnosis-inducing game shows which appeal to the base human characteristic of greed. Nor will you find the so-called reality shows. Forget it. You won't find that here. If, however, you are one of the few remaining Americans with a functioning brain and you have a genuine desire to understand what is going on around you politically, scientifically, and otherwise, we invite you to stay. Welcome. You're at the right place. We always invite you to search out and verify the statements we make. We always stand ready to make corrections of fact when they are brought to our attention. Our purpose is the search for truth, and I invite you to join us in this quest. Now, all that being said, let's get to the point of the show. Once again, it's war. More specifically, psychological war. If your purpose as the aggressor is the total, complete annihilation of every animate and inanimate thing, then thermonuclear war would be hard to beat. And that capability now exists. All you got to do is push the button. But the problem with that plan is that it not only destroys the bodies of your enemy, but also just about everything else. Buildings, factories, forests, wildlife, farms, transportation systems, communication systems, colleges, universities, laboratories, and museums. There's not much left. When the smoke clears, you have won, without a doubt. But where are the spoils of war? As the victor, you're left standing in the middle of a pile of radioactive waste and cinders. Not much to look forward to. But let's say you have some really smart cookies running your operation. They are really good long-term planners who don't mind taking their time as long as the desired objectives are met. They are cunning, intelligent, and possess unbelievable wealth. Following is a purely fictitious scenario of how they might attempt to conquer the nation without ever firing a shot. All hypothetical, you understand. First, they need to gain control of the minds of their intended victims. They do this by infiltrating all the news media, radio, television, newspapers, magazines, movies, etc. Another ready-made vehicle for their conquest is the public school system, and, of course, the colleges and universities. They also gain indirect control of as many churches as possible. They are now well on their way to victory. Now they attack the already weakened family. Motherhood becomes unfashionable. The natural differences between the sexes is blurred. The point is reached where you can't tell which is which. Fathers are viewed as buffoons, and promiscuous sex is encouraged. Divorce becomes rampant, and the formal family structure dissolves into informal associations. The extended family is destroyed. The older members, instead of being treasured and revered, are shuttled off to old folks' homes at the earliest opportunity. Lesbianism and homosexuality are celebrated. The drug culture is established. They strive to create confusion and uncertainty and divisiveness wherever possible. They confuse the nation's long-standing system of measurement. The result is that machines are built with 2 or more units of measurement, inches and millimeters, for example. Try repairing one of those things. They would also like to destroy the nation's capacity as a manufacturer, so they arrange for its factories to be dismantled and shipped to foreign countries. They know that one of the characteristics of a nation-state is well-defined borders, so they arrange to have boundaries dissolved so that you can no longer tell the difference between Texas and Mexico, let us say. They seek to reduce independence and self-reliance at every turn. They encourage the growth of the welfare state. Taxes are increased enormously. They seek at every turn to destroy the value system which has helped define the culture. New definitions and meanings are introduced so that up means down, black means white, bad means good, and right means wrong. I could go on into minute detail, but by now you should see the picture. What we have tried to demonstrate thus far is that by controlling the thinking of the people, the manipulators are able to affect the matrix surrounding them. But it goes much farther than that. By exercising psychological control over the people, they can actually affect them physically, even to the point of death. Consider this multifaceted tactic. By carefully manipulated propaganda, the population is led to believe that a certain chemical, formerly used as rat poison, will reduce tooth decay if it is injected into the public water supply system. The result of this propaganda is that approximately 70% of the nation's public water supply contains this material, which is added at public expense. In other words, the public is paying to poison itself. The percentages of this material added to the water are very small, so people don't fall over dead as soon as they take a drink. Instead, the effects are slow. The same chemical is reported to have been added to the water supplies of Soviet and Nazi prisoner of war camps. Its purpose? To reduce the intelligence of the prisoners and make them more easily controlled. This reminds me of the true report that during the Spanish Inquisition, those being burned at the stake were often required to pay for the wood which was used to burn them to death. Unbelievable, but true. But this is just the beginning. You see, this whole sick business is just one great, big, enormous con game. It operates because the people trust it. Its machinations are so beyond belief, so bizarre, that the mind of the average person refuses to accept them as true. Are they true? Research it for yourself. You still have access to the greatest research tool in the history of mankind, the Internet. Use it. And here's still another angle that might be used to defeat the target nation. Its population is already voluntarily poisoning itself and its public water supply. How about introducing another pesky little chemical into the food chain? It's bisphenol A, BPA for short, and research shows that it has the capability to blur sexual differences under some conditions and is believed to be a causative factor in cancer and diabetes. Read the reports. BPA is a synthetic estrogen and is used in everything from CDs to canned food liners to cash register receipts. It doesn't have to be ingested to be harmful. It can be absorbed by contact with the skin. It has been used in frozen food packaging and in some plastic dinnerware, and in the containers for bottled water. Once again, are its effects immediate? No. At the concentrations present, it destroys you slowly. Hypothetically, of course. Workers in the plants that make it report sexual dysfunction. Another debilitating chemical, which some of you might be hypothetically regularly consuming, is HFCS. That's high fructose corn syrup. It is widely used as a sweetener in a multitude of products ranging from mayonnaise to ketchup to ice cream and soft drinks. This is a synthetic chemical, not to be confused with ordinary corn syrup. It might be possible to get a triple whammy from soft drinks if, for example, they were made with water containing sodium fluoride, sweetened with HFCS, as most of them are, and then bottled in BPA containers. Finally, in the brief moments left, consider this, the most outrageous of all the possibilities we have laid out for you. If, through propaganda and control of the media, the population of victims could be convinced to blindly trust the medical profession and the enormous pharmaceutical industry behind it, what better way to reduce or totally decimate a population than through the administration of drugs and vaccines to a trusting and ignorant mass of non-thinking, dumbed-down primitives? A scenario such as the one I have described to you is stranger than fiction. It simply cannot be believed. How could the manipulators I have postulated in the story possibly wield the clout to move whole industries out of the nation, infiltrate and dominate all the media, control the preferences of the masses, dictate amorality, destroy the family, and dissolve national boundaries? How could they do it? Impossible. How could they create wars at will? How could they create the vast, hypothetical, influx of aliens from Mexico? Create economic chaos, inflation, regularly determine the outcome of presidential elections, and in general undermine every honorable principle which was ever a part of the nation? How? How? It must all be fiction. But it's not even good fiction. It's too unbelievable to be fiction. There's only one common denominator which could possibly account for what has been postulated in our bothersome little story. And that is money. Enormous amounts of it, controlled by the manipulators, beasts not worthy to be called human. But, oh gee, don't get all bent out of shape. Remember, I told you, it's all fiction. Here's a glass of water. Take this sleeping pill and go to bed. And until next time, this is Bobby D. Moore saying goodbye, friends. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed our bizarre little adventure into Fantasyland. And as usual, we would like to invite you to receive our hour-long CD entitled, Does God Exist? It can be yours absolutely free as supplies last. All you have to do is request it. Just send an email to bobbymoorespeaks@gmail.com and just say, send me the CD. Tell us where to send it, and we'll mail it to you. That address again is bobbymoorespeaks@gmail.com.